Why, hello there. Welcome and back to Nerd BS. It's been a couple weeks. I don't even know when the last one we recorded is at this point. I know we keep going on pretty long hiatus. We have been missing Kyle, who's a bit busy. Hopefully, he'll be returning us eventually. And we are trying to work out, trying to get Brian on here as well, but it's just been, difficult. It's a holiday season, and we all have families, and we all have stuff to do, and work, and what have you. So, but we'll try to get as many as we can out there. So, thanks for joining us on
Yeah.
episode 28, and hopefully it'll be fun. Yeah, Tomas has already been speaking up, but here's Tomas is here, and of course I'm Alan. So how is your month since we recorded last going, Tomas?
Oh man, it's been busy. Uh just been getting things done. Um I'm not too scared to announce this now cuz it's in the last few stages of getting done. I've been working on a book for the past 6 or so months and I'm hoping to have it out by the new year. So just working on needing to find some illustrators.
Yeah, a
Um,
book. That's awesome. I've known about the book for a little bit, and I keep meaning to bring it up on the cast, but then I have to hold myself back because I'm like, I didn't even ask if he wanted to talk about his book yet. So maybe he's holding on for sometime special. So do you have like a title or a
uh,
publishing company? I don't know how books work, but I know they're
so
just the written word. What do you?
so right now, going to be doing research on publishing companies next week. Uh, I I don't know much either. I'm doing a lot of this off of what I've gleaned from my own research and from talking to people. But I the publishing companies usually want a pretty finished product, even though they have editors and stuff. They still want a pretty finished product.
Yeah,
Um,
it's got to be a competitive field. I mean, there's
yeah. Oh
people
yeah.
writing.
Yeah. There's actually a lot. It's actually very similar to script writing,
Mm,
and I didn't know this, but apparently directors. So not directors, producers. Usually the executive producers, the lower down producers, or add on like the lower level producers, they go through some 30 to 50 scripts a day, man.
yeah, yeah,
Like, so it's kind of the same thing with a book. You send in the book, you're competing with X amount of manuscripts that are sent into the company, and it needs to stand out against the rest. And
yeah.
so the title is Runt. It's about essentially a werewolf group. The book is focused very heavily on beast races, beast humanoids. Um, it focuses mainly on two groups: a group of werebears and a group of werewolves. Um, and it's kind of a it's definitely a war story, but it is kind of it's kind of a story about displacement and not earning, but obtaining your homeland back after being displaced. Uh, what it's like to live as displacement. It also is just supposed to be fun.
Yeah. You say
it,
werebears and werewolves. Is it going to be like a horror novel? Is what I'm imagining.
No, yeah, no. So
Is that,
that's the
yeah,
other thing that I'm trying to kind of stay clear of is, yeah, this is not horror. This is definitely high fantasy. There are elves and dwarves and things like that. We just don't meet them, and we probably won't meet them for a while in these series. I I love elves and especially dwarves. I love dwarves. Um but I feel like fantasy has always focused on those races, and
Yeah.
I've always felt like
People
there's,
enjoy them. Yeah, they're
yeah,
comfortable with.
yeah, and so I've always felt like there's this untapped pool of fun with the beast races, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of have focused in that way for my first book, and it will probably, hopefully, it will turn into at least a trilogy. I might have to add another book in depending on how it is, but according to the outline right now, it's gonna hopefully be a trilogy. So
Yeah, yeah, and this is what's cool about this is a world you've been working on for years, right?
yeah,
Because I know we've role played and stuff, and now I know you've even converted your world essentially to D&D, on the DL
yeah,
for your people.
yeah,
But this is something a couple of us have been, have had the pleasure to experience preemptively, which is kind of cool. So.
yeah.
Yeah, just,
So this is based off of a history that I've essentially been working on since about high school. Which is I'm 35 now, so you guys do the math.
yeah.
Um, so I've been working on this history for a very long time, off and on. Of course, it's not like I've been working on it hardcore for the past 17 years, but it has been something that I've been working on off and on, and yeah, I've had the pleasure of I guess kind of beta testing it with you guys over and over and over again
Hmm.
because I would do certain games with you guys, and I would realize that I've done something absolutely absurd sometimes with skills or something. I would be like, "Oh wow, this is way too powerful. I've got to take this back to the drawing board." Um but what was great is because of playing with people like you and other friends of mine, is I really got to flesh out a history, and history is something that I love. And so I got to make up this whole world's history with just the different games that I've played with you guys. Alan has Alan. I based the Allens off of you, because we were talking about it. Because I had a race of half demon people, and you had been the person that told me, "Well, why don't you have like a half celestial people?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a good point. I should do that." So yeah, it's
Okay.
I've had help from my
Cool.
friends and family, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
we'll
awesome.
see.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to, when that gets published, we'll have to do a whole section on that. Maybe we'll have to do a little discussion, uh, a little deeper, when it's already out there.
We can do a book
Hopefully,
club.
yeah, I wish you the best of luck on that. And I can't wait to read it myself. I'm definitely probably going to copy whenever it's available. For sure. That's we'll move on here for now. We'll have to come back to that later. But let's we'll just throw out our stuff real quick. I always throw it out at this point. Where you can reach us. So you can reach us at nerdbackstory@gmail.com, or on Twitter at nerd_BS, or my personal Twitter at scadmatrix. Any of those places, even the YouTube comments, well, this will also be after. Uh, you can reach us in those places so we could join our Discord. We talk about random things. Even when we're not recording, we've been like some new stuff has got up there. We've talked
Mhm.
about it there, uh, even though we haven't been able to stay on top of ourselves. But while we may be slowing down, we're definitely not stopping anytime. So we'll probably pick up eventually, much quicker back to our bi-weekly. But for now, we'll see when we can record. We'll try to record. So we'll see what happens. But uh, let's move into some fun stuff that's been happening recently. Some of this stuff is a little older, or has just been going on for a little bit. Like our first story. Now, there's a lot of buzz, and I probably should have put it in there about the Spider-Man movie coming out, but that's not out yet. Uh, and I think we already talked about most of this stuff. I don't know why I even brought that up because it's on the notes. But we have, it's been buzzing on Twitter, all the people that are in there, and we've already talked about all the people that we thought were going to be on there in previous episodes. So hopefully that movie gets good. I think it's like in 2.5 hours now,
Oh
which
wow.
I mean, yeah, that's what they're saying. It's like it's supposed to be like one of the longer MCU movies, which is pretty cool. I can't wait to see it, except for the fact it's probably going to be only in theaters, and so I may not be going out to see it until it comes to my home. But you want to say anything about Spider-Man?
Well, ours. I actually just recently saw Let There Be Carnage.
Oh, you
Um,
actually went and saw it. I wanted to see it, and I just waiting for it to come to wherever it. Where will that movie go? I didn't even think about that. It's like where does
I
because
don't.
that's technically a Sony movie, right?
Yeah.
It's not even like Spider-Man where it's like kind of a Marvel movie. It's like more of a
Well,
movie.
it's
I've heard the spoiler stuff, yeah, as well. All right.
yeah. The spoiler
So
stuff definitely makes it seem like they have begun to incorporate Venom. And it definitely. I don't know how much you want me to spoil it for you,
yeah,
Alan.
let's not spoil anything if
Yeah.
for now.
So
I know I saw the Morbius trailer as well,
yes, I'm
which looks
excited for
pretty.
that.
I'm not a Jay Leto fan, as a person, in general, but
Uh-huh.
still looks interesting. So I'm curious about it. So, and he's also one of those ones that's like, is he or isn't he in the MCU? We don't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see. And now there's, oh God, there was something else too. And I'm just going completely off script right now. Uh, but what I had on our outline here was Critical Role Campaign 3. I was hoping Brian can join us because I know he's actually kept up. Tomas here is trying to be a little more uh, canonical with his reading, with his watching, since he's still trying to finish two. Well, I'm not even done with two, but I'm just going into three. I'm diving in. So uh, I am enjoying it quite a bit. And I don't really want to give too much away, but we had our characters that were really cool, and it's all sounding great. And I'm just, you know what, if you're interested, go watch it. But it's it's been really good so far. I'm really liking Talison's character with the he's Earth Genasi, um, barbarian. Uh, and I love Sam's character, which is the cleric. It's like a unity cleric. So both Sam and Talison's
Mhm.
characters are are archetypes that are custom. So
Mhm.
which is I'm thinking is okay. So I watched last campaign, and I haven't watched the first campaign, but I did watch last campaign up until like episode 103, and I'm still working my way through that to finish. But I can't think of any of the archetypes in that campaign that are custom, besides maybe Marisha's, the monk. I think the monk is
Yeah,
custom.
the monk was custom.
Um,
Now she's kind of official because
oh,
she's
really? What?
she's been added to the books, but it's under their little group. But
Oh, yeah. So there's another book coming out, which I'm planning on picking up, but it's not. As far as I know, it's not going to be on D&D Beyond. It has a bunch of archetypes in it, and I feel like, and even maybe even some classes. So I
uh
feel like basically to get anything on D&D, there's a huge process. So I feel like the amount of stuff they wanted to put in on it is it was too much
hmm
for what D&D Beyond does. So or what? Sorry, not D&D Beyond. Wizards of the Coast does. So I think their own route on that one. It's going to be published by them. But yeah, but yeah. So the monk is the only one I could think of is in campaign two that was unique, as far as I know. I could be, like I
yeah,
said, I could be mistaken, but I think that that's about it.
I think you're
Uh,
right, but I could also be mistaken. But I believe
but
you
in
are
this
correct.
campaign, it seems like we have so those two are unique archetypes. We have and I hope I'm not going to ruin any of this for you.
No.
I'm trying to be tiptoey because I don't want to ruin anything because there's a lot of really cool surprises at the beginning. Um, but there was a reborn. Marisha's character is a reborn,
Oh.
which is crazy to me because she started off because they're all level 3, but
Uh-huh.
she's already started off as a multi-class. She's actually a warlock sorcerer at
Oh,
level 3.
okay.
She's like one level warlock, one level sorcerer, 2 level warlock, I think, or vice versa. Obviously.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
Laura's character is a sorcerer, and I think she's also a unique archetype, but I could be mistaken because we haven't nobody they haven't really said. Um, Ashley is a satyr, and she's also going to be she's a druid, and she's the wildfire druid.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's a what is his name? Robert? I don't know. He's a guest right now. I'm pretty sure, but he's a bard, and he's a water genasi or air genasi. But I don't remember what his archetype is. I don't know if he has a unique one or not. I know Travis is playing. He was playing a level 5, and it's
Yeah, I thought.
actually a fighter, and he's a character that was in campaign 1 or the Search for Grog. I don't know because I haven't seen those either of those things.
So
I can't
he's
remember.
so he's a fighter though. I
Yeah,
thought he was the bard for some reason.
no, he's a fighter. I don't know what his archetype is, but he was also a character, and I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but yeah, so a lot of
Mm.
the rumors are that his character, because he's higher level, that his is like an introductory character, and then his real character is gonna come in later.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm not gonna go into any crazy story details, but there's a lot of fun stuff, especially since you haven't watched it yet. Uh, I've been enjoying it. I've been watching. This is the first campaign I've been watching. My wife's been watching it with me actually.
How does she
So
like it?
she's been really digging it.
Oh.
She was enjoying listening to campaign 2 with me because I would listen to it as a podcast for the majority for a while whenever I'd be driving,
Mm-hmm.
and she got a kick at, she was enjoying the characters and everything, but when you tell somebody that there's 130 episodes and they've
Yeah.
got 4 hours each, that sounds a little daunting.
Yeah.
But when I said there was a new campaign coming and it's supposed to be isolated, so if there may be some callbacks, but for the most part you don't need to know anything else. She was all for it, so we've been watching that every week, and that's been a real fun time, so I've been really digging it. But
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So that's all I really had for right there, and then we can move over to video games, where we got a couple things, a couple old things, but one brand new thing that actually came out today. So hopefully we don't retrace too many steps of other content creators. Uh, but I did want to talk a little bit about the Switch Online expansion. We discussed it in our Discord quite a bit, and at first, we were all thinking it was going to be reasonably priced, um, being that it's only adding some 64 games and some Genesis games.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we found out. Oh yeah, and also an expansion to Animal Crossing. Which, if you don't play Animal Crossing, well, then I guess you're not getting anything there either. Uh, which it's a $30 increase a year for the
Oh,
individual.
wow.
Yeah, which doesn't seem enough. Like, it doesn't seem like there's enough to be raising it that much.
Yeah.
It's like a 25. See, I pay 35 right now, and it's up to $80 for the family subscription as well.
Wow.
So, and when I pay about 35 now, so about what is that, about 40 something dollars more for the family.
Yeah.
It's a steep increase, and there's been some severe problems with it. There's been some, no, from what I've understood, no, I don't have it yet because of this price increase. I haven't found that it's worth it to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Even me, who was actually really excited for N64 games, but I've heard that there's been some latency issues. There's also been because of the unique controller, they didn't really give you a way to uh, customize the controls. So you only have two options, and they're both, from what I've understood, not very good. Uh, and so it's really designed for the 64 controller that they did release, but then we got a notice a couple days ago that they will not be selling any more until 2022.
Mm.
So that means even if you
But
bought,
does that have to do with the Sorry, go ahead.
no, what was that?
I was
What
gonna
was
say,
it?
does that have to do with the shortage that's going on?
I have no idea what it is, the reasoning is for it, but I just know that I tried to get one lacklusterly. I wasn't like headstrong and really giving it my all when it first popped out because
Uh,
I was honestly hesitant with the price, and it's also $50 for a N64 controller that I'm probably only going to be using for one purpose.
yeah.
So I wasn't like ready to jump on board yet. Uh, and so I drug my feet, and they're already selling for 150 to $200 on
Oh
scalpers
well.
now because people just bought them up. And now, once they announced no more coming out this year, of course, those prices went up.
Hmm.
Uh, but I don't know if you've heard anything about that. I know we talked about a little bit, then you had it. I don't know what you think about some of that stuff. It sounds like you have pretty much what I was thinking. So what
Yeah,
were you?
it sounds that sounds really expensive for Nintendo. Number one, uh, $40 extra a month for the family, right? Was what you said.
Yeah, it was roughly. So it's like, so basically it's like 35 per year for the family account, and then it's up to $80, 79.99.
Well, yeah.
So
I mean, that
uh,
just sounds like a lot for Nintendo. I mean, and
yeah,
it,
for an online service that's frankly shaky at best. It's
yeah,
compared to, when you compare it to like PlayStation, the
yeah.
online service is when it works, but it doesn't work a lot more than
Hmm.
it shouldn't. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
and you it was acceptable because it was like $20 a year. It's like,
yeah.
okay, obviously it's not going to be the greatest, but at least it's not as expensive. But then now you're trying to raise the price to the point where it's more than the competition. Uh,
Hmm.
Yet your service is nowhere
Not,
near
not
as
even
solid.
equal. Yeah.
Yeah, because both Xbox and PlayStation have good online services, from what I've understood.
Hmm.
I mean, from PlayStation, I know is a good online service. Xbox I don't have, so I can't
Yeah.
say, but I know that most people that have Xboxes have not complained about their online service anymore. So obviously
Yeah.
it's okay. But anyways, yeah, it's just kind of a it is a bleh.
Yeah.
Bleh moment to be a Nintendo fan right now. Honestly, it's like,
It's a
oh
hard
man,
hit. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh boys, really. I mean, especially after Dread came out, which is actually really good, but it's like, oh man.
Mm,
Guess I can still make good games and just annoying business decisions. But of course, the controllers are
yeah.
sold out. People are buying the expansion, so obviously your casual gamer who doesn't seem to care seems to be getting it. So whatever, I guess it's working.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I kind of so the next thing I wanted to bring up, I kind of put this in here for Kyle, who'll probably check this out. So we've talked a little bit on this show about physical problems, and this is actually going to bleed into our next one too.
Hmm.
Uh, Technical problems on Switch. So we've kind of talked that there's like three carts that they produce. There's like a smaller 8 gigabyte one, I think. And they have like a medium mid tier, like 12 to 15 or something like that. And then they have like a 32 that's like their big boy. So they have these different tiers that you can purchase through them. But we have a GTA trilogy coming out, which is going to be um, Vice City, San Andreas, and GTA 3. It's going to be a combination game coming out for Switch, PS4, PS5, basically everything.
Hmm.
And we
Because
found
instead of
out
making new games, let's just make the old ones again and again
it's a
and again.
remaster. It's a remaster. You know it's going to sell anyways.
I know.
Um,
I am just getting a little bitter with this remastering. I'll
see,
admit.
I get for you because you're not one that goes back all the time. See,
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who would rather play older games. is where I'm kind of stuck right now. It's like older
Uh,
ones are. But anyways, I digress. I agree with
yeah.
you, but I also understand it. Uh, but anyways, so the issue being is the physical cart uh, seems to have an update that's going to be about 16 gigabytes. Okay, gigabyte update. So not download essentially. If you have the physical cart. Okay. The online version of this one is only 24 gigabytes.
Jeez.
So that means, and just guess for a second who is actually publishing this cart.
Like, I guess GTA.
You mean
Would be,
Rockstar?
yeah, would be. Yeah, sorry,
No,
Rockstar would be.
it's actually Nintendo themselves who's publishing it.
Oh,
And they are skimping out and giving them the 8 gigabyte cart and forcing you to download so
the other.
the
Yeah, the
rest
other.
of the download size, which is
Yeah,
another 20 or another 16 gigs. So it's
yeah.
like what the heck? At this point, like you could kind of understand at the beginning of the Switch life, but we're like over 5 years out now, and
Yeah,
this issue with doing this where we're gonna and it makes you wonder like what games is it only like one of the games on this cartridge and you need to have the other
probably.
or something as like how does I it's just annoying and then it bleeds
Yeah.
right to our Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes
Hmm.
who are coming out, who got a bunch of early copies out, and people were actually complaining because it was missing a couple features. And then the day one patch notes were released, and a lot of those features, up to 3 gigabytes worth, is available on a day one patch, which means that you don't even have the full Pokemon game on the cart anymore.
Yeah.
And so what is going on with these
Yeah.
with everything the physical media essentially is being used as just a placeholder for digital
Hmm.
media, I feel
Yeah, it's starting to feel like it's definitely starting to feel like a like remember when you used to go to the game store to buy a video game and they just had those like cardboard. It wasn't really cardboard,
yeah,
but they were just plastic, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you'd pull it off the shelf. And be like, do you have any more copies of this? You know what I mean?
yeah, and that's a valid statement because it is starting to feel like that. It's like feeling like you're basically buying something that you could see and physically hold, but doesn't really have at least not
Yeah,
all of it on there,
yeah.
which is I mean, I guess we've always kind of talked about, the death of physical media, and we've kind of
Hmm.
had uh, little conversations about how we kind of go back and forth. I know we've talked about a little bit back and forth on is physical media going to just eventually die out, and I think
Hmm.
we've all bitten the inevitable that most likely is going to be the case. But this is kind of a shaky way for it to go.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of games
Although,
that are just partial games.
yeah, although I will say this, maybe maybe it was the same way like when newspapers went out. Maybe they went out the same shady way and we were just too young to notice.
Well,
But
newspapers are
like
still around, but yeah, there aren't as many for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? Like, so like maybe I'm agreeing with you though. I'm
yeah,
agreeing
yeah,
with you
yeah,
though.
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like it's a pretty, it's a pretty crappy way to walk out. Like, this is your last breath. Yeah, you should have saved it.
yeah. Maybe this is just a Switch thing, but I feel like it's not.
No.
I know that the games have to come out before they're done developing them is a big, they don't have to. They just
Yeah.
seem to do it because they're like, well, we have to do like 6 months of prep work for these games to be released in the mass quantities we need them to be. So why don't we get everything started and then we can keep working on the game for 6 months?
Yeah.
And that way, when it's released, it'll be done, but it can be released earlier
Hmm.
than we. then we don't have to wait as long, and we can hit that holiday season, which obviously Diamond and Pearl are trying to get, and same with GTA. They're both trying to get in that holiday season
Yeah.
because Christmas is coming up, and so everybody's going to be buying these for people. Uh, yeah,
It could also be, and I'm not trying to find excuses for the companies who are doing this because I still think it's a pretty shady way to do things and pretty, not, I guess not shady, but a, a really just kind of sucker way to do things, I guess. Like it just feels like do one or the other. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I do wonder if this has anything to do with all the shipping shortages that we have right now.
yeah. I
And
mean,
so
that's
they're
always a
just
possibility for sure.
yeah, so they're just trying to like push for the digital release because they're like we probably won't have enough physical copies.
Well,
Like
I'm imagining digital obviously gives the developer more money, or really the publisher more money in
mhm.
the long haul. Actually, probably the early haul is what I mean, because obviously they're only paying for the work at that point that put in
Mhm.
the game. They're not worried. They don't have to worry about any physical
Yeah.
thing. It's just all a digital download. So I mean, I'm not saying they're not paying anything because they are paying something. I mean, they had to
Yeah.
pay to make the game, but they aren't paying that extra bit for that
Yeah.
physical product.
Yeah. True.
So
True.
it makes me sad because Diamond and Pearl are probably my favorite generation in the
Mm.
Pokemon games, and so I was really looking forward to this. And I'm torn because I heard all the early stuff about how, oh no, Diamond and Pearl people are getting it like 2 weeks early. Oh no, it's bare bones. It's basically just the main story and that's it. And it's
Mhm.
missing a lot of the other stuff that was in it. And then I started seeing this like, oh, there's a day one patch, it's 3 gigs. It's basically putting everything in that we thought was missing into the game. But which is good, which made me happy because I was like, oh shit, what happened?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
stuff of this game, and now all the other ones they've been remaking have been phenomenal. I mean, Fire
Yeah.
Red, Leaf Green were great.
Yeah.
Soul Heart, Soul Silver, amazing. Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. So I was waiting for Diamond and Pearl, and so when I
Mhm.
started hearing about this, I was like, oh, this is the one you're gonna half-ass. This is the one. But I'm glad that at least it's not exactly the case. So we'll
Yeah.
see how bad it really is. But I'm hoping for the best because I was at Target today and I actually saw a Switch Lite in the thing. That it was because they made Diamond and Pearl Switch Lights.
Oh.
So and they had two of them at Target, and I was like, so you're tempting me, Nintendo, because I love this. This is my favorite generation, and but I didn't get it because I just don't need a Switch Lite. I just don't
Yeah.
play portably enough. So
Mhm.
if I was going to spend the money, I would spend a little bit more money and get the OLED. I wouldn't get the Switch Lite,
Yeah. Yeah.
Lite personally. But yeah, uh, that it's upsetting. But oh well, we'll see what happens. It's coming out the 19th. I don't know. Are you
Yeah.
glad? You just
Uh,
told me earlier that you didn't even know it was coming out.
yeah, I actually didn't even know it was coming out. I was a little surprised when I saw that. And actually, when I saw that day one patch, I actually assumed I was like, "Oh crap, it's already out. I missed it." You know what I mean? Like I was like, "Oh, whoa." But yeah, when you told me that they had just done like some early releases, I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, I'm excited for it. Diamond and Pearl. So Ruby and Sapphire is where I fell off of Pokemon. I don't remember
Yeah,
what
I
it
fell off on Gold
was.
and Silver. Like
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know what it was.
skipped I skipped Ruby those two entirely and then
Mhm.
came to Diamond because I found a copy in my brother's room. I was like visiting him and I was just
Uh,
sitting there, just a cartridge on the thing. I just was like picking up. I was like, can I borrow this? And he said, yeah, sure. And then I fell in love with it. But anyways, what were you saying about those?
yeah, so I played Ruby, I think it was back in the day, or I might be remembering it wrong because when it re came out, I got
Yeah,
the
it
Omega
was
Ruby.
Ruby. It was Ruby and Sapphire, and then it was
Yeah,
Omega Ruby and something Sapphire. I don't remember what it
yeah.
was.
So I believe
Yeah.
it was Ruby that I had back in the day. And I beat it, but I definitely didn't put the same heart into it that I had done in
Yeah.
the previous ones.
I heard a lot of people had issues with it. The
Yeah.
remake was good. I don't know if how much they changed, but I guess it was technically more of Emerald, which I never
Uh-huh.
played. Which is another reason why I'm excited for this because if it's anything like those ones, they put all the third game
Yeah.
into it. So I'm hoping for the same thing.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I didn't play Emerald either. I didn't play Crystal. Um, I didn't play Diamond or
I just downloaded
Pearl.
Crystal. Try that.
Yeah, so I didn't play any of those ones. What got me back into it was actually Pokemon, I want to say White and Black
Yeah,
was
I
the one
remember
I got back into it.
because I had just beaten Diamond when I heard about Black and White, and
Uh-huh.
it got me like super pumped. And I remember actually talking to you and another friend of our Brian,
Hmm.
and you guys played Pokemon with me, and so I was like, "Hey, you guys gonna get this? Because it's coming
Yeah.
back. Come
y-
on!" And I think
Yeah,
we all ended up getting
we
it,
did.
and you know
Yeah.
what? I loved Black and
It,
White. I thought they were
it,
great.
yeah, Black and White really sucked me back into it. And I was like, oh, I love this. And I got X and Y and I got Omega
So have you
Red.
ever
And
played this generation? It's the fifth, I
no,
think.
I
Pearl?
haven't played Diamond and Pearl.
Oh
So
wow.
I actually want to get it because I want to see what it's like because I never played this one.
Good. I'm glad. That's awesome. I'm jealous of you because this is actually I okay. So the one for DS was much harder, and what I'm guessing.
Hmm.
I'm assuming this one might be easier. Uh, I know people are mad because apparently XP share is already on by default.
Oh,
If you can turn it off, I don't know if that
uh-huh.
bothers you. It doesn't bother me. 'Cause Mix it
Honestly, it
don't
doesn't
grind as
bother
much.
me because yeah, I don't have to grind. Like I can get my six, and if one's a little bit behind, it's fine. He'll catch up.
He'll catch
Like,
up.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, I prefer that. So when I heard it, I was like, whatever, no big deal.
yeah,
Now I don't like it just for if it's true you can't turn it off. I don't like
yeah,
it just having a simple option because it's
yeah.
been
I
a
agree
game
with you.
had
Yeah,
the option, and so
I
they
agree
should
with you
have.
on that.
I'm for options for all games. Give me an easy mode for Bloodborne, and I will dip right. But I will get crucified by the hardcore gaming audience, I'm sure. But seriously, I just like on the opposite end. I would love a hard mode for
Mhm.
Pokemon games. I'm actually working on getting the Pokemon. The only hard mode that's ever been put in a Pokemon game was in Black and White 2, but they made it ridiculously hard to get to, and I'm trying to work on trying
Yeah,
to
I actually never did get that. That's the one I didn't get is the Black and White 2 because I don't know. It didn't for some reason the idea of a sequel didn't sell me. I was like,
Yeah.
ah.
I like it. I'm enjoying it a lot. I got it when it came out, but I never really played it. Then I sold my copy, but my wife did not sell hers because I bought one
Uh-huh.
for her. And then before this video game boom, thank God it was before this video game boom. I saw on one of the Macari, I think it is.
Uh-huh.
I saw on there somebody was selling White and White 2, which I had sold a long time ago for like $30. There's both
Oh,
of them.
whoa.
It's really time. It's
I
really
still have
cheap.
Imogen's white and I have my black.
Yeah. Don't sell Pokemon games unless I mean they yes or no if unless you really want to sell them, they are pricey right now if you want to get old
Wow.
Pokemon games, especially Platinum. I was looking at it today and finding a
I
good
still
used
think I
copy.
have my red somewhere.
That's those are I have an emerald that I found that's the battery's dead in it, so I can replace the
Uh,
battery. But that one sells pretty hot. Yeah, but like most Pokemon games of the older ones are about at least like $40. And
wow.
if way more. Some of those older ones on GBA, like Emerald, I think if I really put my mind to it, I may be able to get like $100 or so for it, just because
Dude, you know what would be crazy? I wonder how much it'd be worth. So when I went to Hong Kong when I was younger, and I came back, I got Brian uh Pokemon Green
Oh yeah?
in
Oh,
Hong Kong. And
yeah.
he it's
Was it a
he
legit copy? Because they
yeah,
have a lot of.
Yeah,
productions.
no, but it was all
And you
in
say Hong Kong too,
Chinese. Yeah, it
my
was all in Chinese or
okay,
Japanese
okay.
or something.
Japanese, yeah, yeah.
So
I mean,
so
if it was in Hong
Brian,
Kong, it may have been Chinese. Who
it may
knows?
have been Chinese, so maybe it wasn't a legit one, but I thought it was.
Well, I think
Um,
if they released it, I don't know. I don't know the history, but I
yeah,
know some games got released in Hong Kong. So
yeah, but it was, and I gave it to Bri as like a present, and Bri he still beat it, even though he couldn't like read.
I mean, it's first gen, man. It's first
Yeah,
gen.
yeah, but
If
it
you
was
know what's
still.
going on, you're fine. There ain't much
I
there.
wonder if he still has that.
It might be worth a bit. I know the funny thing is the Japanese games of the
Mhm.
equivalents are usually worth less for some reason.
Ah,
It's the American because it's the Americans who are like
yeah,
hoarding
it's the
stuff.
American ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Americans that are so the English ones are the ones that are usually like really
yeah,
expensive because we're the ones that are doing the crazy hoarding and collecting
yeah.
and
We want
that.
all our old stuff.
Yeah, the nostalgia craze. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I was lucky I got that when I did, but I'm going through it now. I'm enjoying it. I'm excited for Diamond and Pearl. My son is in the same boat as you, as he's never played Diamond and Pearl, so I'm excited
Hmm.
for him because I love Diamond and Pearl. That
Yeah,
has
I definitely am gonna have to get this. It's
it's
gonna
a
go
real
on the Christmas list for sure.
for sure. Yeah, I would highly recommend it, and I'll give it a chance to update if they need to. It is not
Yeah.
technically made by Game Freak. This is actually what was the company that made it? There was
Oh,
a company
really?
that made. Yeah, it was the company that made the Pokemon Bank actually, which is
Oh, okay.
this is like their first uh like full game,
Uh-huh.
which, which is a pretty big deal. So, but also at the same time, people are like, well, why didn't Game Freak do it? Da, 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 da. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell? What's their reasoning is they're not doing it because they're working on. Uh, let's see if I could say this correctly because my son keeps getting mad at me and correcting me. Uh, Arceus, Pokemon Arceus, the other Pokemon game coming out next year, I
Yeah,
think.
I don't even think I've heard anything about this one either.
Yeah, that
So,
one's it's supposed to be like a new style of Pokemon. It's
oh, so is
they were
that the
people.
one?
Yeah, it
Sorry,
looks
is
kind
that
of
the
like Breath
one?
of the Wild. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's the one that they're all saying it's like Zelda.
yeah. People were comparing it to Breath of the Wild, but more information is coming out, and it's being a less open world than people originally
Oh,
thought.
okay.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens when it comes out. But they're spending a lot of time on it.
Uh-huh.
Uh, But yeah, Pokemon, man, it's exciting. I'm excited. Uh, but I guess we could just move on over to tabletop games. I
Yeah.
think we wanted to talk about Fizzbands. It's out and about, all about dragons. This is a book that people actually are complaining about a little bit, and
Really?
the reasoning is not for what you think it is. It is a
Okay.
good book. Don't get me wrong. It is a great book. The problem people are having with it is it didn't come with much in the way of
Mm-hmm.
adventures, in the way of
Mm.
races, way of
Mm-hmm.
feats, way of classes, and such as that. So basically, all this stuff is really lore, and it's really just for like DMs and people who want to know
Oh, okay.
have more dragons and more interesting dragon stuff in their game.
Mm.
And that's why people are kind of complaining because why am I buying this $30 book if I'm just playing the game? And for them,
Mm-hmm.
I say, well, you can go on D&D Beyond and purchase them piecemeal if you really want the classes and races and not buy the book. But
Yeah.
I say the book is well worth it. I've been enjoying it. I have been very happy with the Drake Warden. I saw the update
Mm-hmm.
and I implemented it in the game, and I'm happy with the updates that they did, even though they semi nerfed, but they also
Yeah.
semi buffed. So it's like I think it's a good balance. They didn't go
Yeah.
too crazy either way, which is good.
Yeah.
Uh,
I definitely want to give this Dragon Monk a chance. I am I swore that the next full campaign I did, I would
you're
do
gonna do a
a
monk.
magic user. I,
Oh,
re-
oh yeah, that's right.
I
Okay.
swore it. I am doing a magic user for the next campaign. I am finally going to make my first magic user. And I've actually been debating about changing my magic user to Wildfire, honestly. Because I was originally going to do a Way of the Moon Druid. but I
Uh-huh.
think I'm actually gonna switch to Wildfire if
That's
I
the
do the
problem.
druid.
See, when we first started talking, I know what campaign you're talking about. When we first started
Hmm.
talking about it, and I kept hearing about it, I was thinking it was like it's probably gonna be in a month away, right? Like I'm thinking like we're talking about it, we're buzzing, right? So I'm like, this is like a month away, and so I got really excited, and I started making a lot of things, and I started getting really deep, and I started making a lot of discussions with the DM, and then I started asking more and more, and I kept asking about it, and then I started realizing like I started getting the hints and everything. And I'm like, you guys' other game isn't really ending anytime soon, is it? Like, I'm
I
getting
was,
excited for some reason. So I had that same feeling. I was like, I'm gonna
yeah.
fucking get my brain. Then in like a month, knowing how my brain goes, it's
Yeah,
gonna be. I'm gonna be on a totally different idea. So
yeah,
fortunately,
yeah.
I think I'm focusing on one thing. But you're not thinking about the druid doing the druid anymore. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, no, it's fine. I was just gonna tell you. Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat with you about my last campaign, and well, about our campaign that we're doing right now. I shouldn't say our last campaign because we're still doing it. Like I really thought we were getting close to the wrap up, and we've kind of gone down a new path somehow. I don't even know how we got on it.
Well, that campaign's supposed to go to 20, right? Is that what I've
Yeah,
understood? Okay,
yeah.
but you guys were like what, 18, 17?
We're
I don't remember.
17. I keep thinking we're right around the corner to 18. I
Uh,
I don't if he goes another session without making us 18, I'm going to bring something up because we've been in so many fights recently that
well, I
it's
mean, you're
like,
at the end levels. That's why I'm like, it's like an MMO. It's like those last
yeah,
levels are always the
these last
longest.
levels are these grind outs. Yeah. Um so I think this is our last detour from the main arc. I will say that. Um but hopefully it's our last detour from the main arc. But so yeah, I was like you though. I was really getting into my character, really making him. Um and then it kind of hit me as well. I was like, wait a second. We just wandered off on this new arc. We're probably not going to be done for a while. So I need to pump the brakes. And yeah,
Yeah.
when Fizzbands came out and I started looking at Fizzbands, and man, I saw that Dragon Monk. I was like, I want to make this so bad for the next campaign.
And I am jealous of your love of the monk. I can't. I
Oh, I
still can't.
love them.
It just seems so bleh to me. But that's fine. But you like the melee classes a lot more than
Yeah,
I
I
do.
do. I
I've
love the melee
also been
classes.
I made a fighter a couple characters ago, and I was struggling. I was having a hard time, and maybe it's just me, but I was just struggling because every fight was the same. It was just like,
Yeah,
okay, go up and attack, go up and attack, go up and attack.
yeah,
Good, mix it up slightly. I did do an Echo Knight, so it was a little bit there was a little bit more to do, but I still felt like I was very limited in what I could do besides running up and hitting. But
yeah.
that's just me, I think.
For me personally, with the fighter classes, I have learned it's a lot of making it your own, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so at that point, I would say that a lot of times, if you have a good DM, fighter classes are fun. And I've been blessed with good DMs, so I can have my fun because my DMs, I'll be like, yeah, DM, I run up and I hit him in the shins. And my DM is like, yeah, you run up and you hit him in the shins. You know, they don't second guess it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though I know I can't aim for the shins, but
Yeah, yeah,
for the moment, I like picturing it that way, and my DMs are kind enough to go, "Oh yeah, you can picture it that way." You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you can role play it out, which is always the fun part about it. Because I know I was recently having the issue in a not issue, but in a one shot of mine where I was basically teaching a new player like how to play Dungeons and Dragons, and he was doing the it wasn't just him, it was multiple people, but they were doing the, oh, I want to aim for this or whatever. And I was like,
Mhm.
I mean, you
Mhm.
can't, we can say you can, but it's not going to do anything
Yeah.
drastic. Uh,
Yeah.
so just let you know that just because you say you're trying not to do this or you don't want to cut off, you want to cut this specific area or whatever to do something,
Yeah.
it's not going to kill them or do them anything different. Because
Yeah. Or like, I want to shoot him in the hand. Okay, it's not going to make him drop their weapon,
yeah, because there's a
but
for that. Yeah, so if you want to get
Yeah.
for that, you can do that, but that would require you. I think it's fighter and actually, it's disarm through fighter
Yeah.
and
Or you can
master.
get the feat, the martial
Oh yeah,
feat.
that one feat. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. So yeah, but still, that's awesome, and I
Yeah.
really like Fizzbands. I'm enjoying it, reading bits of it, and I'm excited to put some of these dragons in a campaign or see some of them in somebody else's
Hmm.
campaign. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. But yeah, so I think that's it for that. But we also have our soapboxes. So
Yeah, we do.
things we want to talk about, and I'm going to go ahead and well, you want to go first? You want me to go first? You want to do,
Oh,
bud?
you know what? Let's let you end on this because I think yours is going to be a little more interesting than mine. So let's let you end this one. Uh, so I'm gonna get up here on my soapbox real quick. Uh, my soapbox is essentially really, really quick. Um, I have been playing a lot of the Demon Souls, and so I played Demon Souls when I got the new PS5. Played the new Demon Souls, loved it.
Did
It
they put an easy mode in yet?
no, no, not yet,
Oh, dang. Okay, I guess I'm not
unfortunately.
playing it.
I think you might have to wait a little longer. Although I will say, I have been reading a lot about this Elden Ring. Uh,
Uh,
I don't think it has an easy mode, but it is supposedly the easiest of the Souls games that they've ever done. And apparently it has a lot of like hardcore Souls fans like upset because apparently the armor is more you well, not the armor, but your stats are less rigid
uh,
in this one. Like you
yeah.
can do like if you do something in strength, your magic might go up just because it's that time for, I believe Dragon Age used to do that in their leveling system where you would put up your strength and and your magic damage would go up for some reason. Like so I don't know. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the exact thing that they're doing, but I get the impression that it's very similar to what Neo has done. And if anyone plays Neo, they'll know what I'm talking about. Where the stats are more of the stat connections with weapons and armor are more of a suggestion than mandatory. Like,
Yeah.
um, which I believe actually has some hardcore Souls fans kind of in an uproar because, like, pretty much everyone needs to use magic, and so everyone can access magic no matter kind of their skill levels and stuff like that. So and it's got much more of this kind of crafting aspect to it. When I was watching it, it looked a lot more like Witcher to me than Dark Souls. Um it looked like a Witcher game with Dark Souls monsters. Like so
Okay. Okay.
so it's supposed to be easier. It's still gameplay co-op friendly and stuff like that. Um but you can also have like these summons, I guess, where you can like I don't know if it's like Pokemon, I don't know how you get them, but you can like use an item and it like in the video the guy uses an item and it creates like five little troll. Well, not little, but it creates like five trolls that just gank this bad guy. And
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, well, I don't know how he got those, but that's
Yeah, I guess
cool.
like a summon master or something, so you don't have to actually be a good game.
Yeah.
You don't have to play the game.
Yeah, so if you're a mage, say, and you need a meat shield, you can just create this meat shield, which is another reason why I guess a lot of Souls people are in kind of
Yeah,
an
of course,
uproar.
because
Like,
that could theoretically be the easier route,
yeah.
which
So
play, which they don't like. They want to make sure it's exclusive
yeah,
play.
yeah, they want to make sure that you have to if you're going to be a swordsman, then you can only do sword stuff. And like, yeah, I understand it, I guess, in that sense, but I like this idea. I think it's going to be a nice breath of life into the Souls games. Um and like they said when they made number 3, they said that they're done with the Souls series. Like they don't want to do that anymore. Like so I I think it's the same creative. You can see that it's still the same creative artists and stuff like that because the monsters are similar, the scenery is similar, things like that. But they're also trying to do something new, and I commend them for that. I think that if you just do the same thing over and over and over again, it gets stale.
Of
You
course,
know,
yeah.
that's why Pokemon has added new things. That's why you don't just do the same thing anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Some would
um,
argue with that, but yeah, I understand. Yeah, the developers they just want to try new stuff, so let them try
yeah,
new stuff, and if it sells, it sells, and if it doesn't, well, they may need to go back to some of their own stuff. But if this is a
yeah,
more accessible game, this may become more popular. And now I'm
exactly.
not saying those games don't sell because they obviously do, but I would argue if there was an easier, and I'm not really fighting for it because I really don't care because
Yeah.
if I play it. But I feel like if they with those games they have some very good atmosphere, and I
Hmm.
feel that if they did have an easy mode, I think it would just open the door for more people to actually be involved and care.
I
But
actually agree
that's just
with
me.
you. I agree with you, and I don't see the harm in letting there be an easy mode. I
Yeah,
don't see the harm
options.
in it. Like,
No, you can even turn off all the like. I mean, you just add. You can have the trophies and stuff where they
yeah,
only get certain trophies for certain difficulty levels.
yeah.
So
Like maybe if you choose to do easy mode, you are forfeiting trophies.
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't really care about trophies anyways. I
a
don't know if
lot
I'd
of
play it, but I just think more people would probably be get into it.
yeah, and I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. Like I think that I don't think I know there's a lot of hardcore fans, soul fans out there who would spit in my face right now and tell me I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
I don't see the problem
Damn,
with
those
it.
fans sound great. Uh,
I really don't. I don't see the problem with it.
yeah,
Especially if my idea is if you release the game the same way it always is. And if someone wants an easy mode, they literally have to figure out how to make an easy mode, just like all the other Souls games, which by the way, it wouldn't be that hard. You probably would just have to talk to some random NPC and they would tell you some random story. And inside that random story would be your instructions. Like,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
Dark Souls doesn't hold your hand. That's what makes it Dark Souls.
yeah, yeah,
So you don't have to hold the player's hand to even have them figure it out, but just let them have a chance to figure it out. And if they want to, they can go, oh, if I go to my options and I go to this tab and I go here, up, yep, there it is, easy mode. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, why not? Why not?
yeah. Just put in the Mario mode on that just turns you to an invincible character. So yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Uh, but going like I said earlier, like I mean, I think options are great no matter what.
Hmm.
Either it's making them easier, making it harder. Even I like both. I like
Yeah.
having the options to change what you want to do, how you
Mm,
want to play the game.
mm,
Because games are a medium that everybody should experience if they want to experience, just like
exactly.
movies and music. But either way, anything else you want to talk about this new game that's coming out?
No, other than that, I'm excited for it. I really hope it does live up to the hype. Like I said, there's some mixed opinions right now, but for the most part, from what I've seen, the opinions have been good. It's mainly the very hardcore fans that are having a little bit of a deal with
Yeah,
this, I
like
guess.
that. I mean, there's always going to be those people that get
Yeah.
angry about everything. So it just happens. Just like watching Critical Role recently. I haven't watched it live in a long time, and we
Hmm.
recently started watching it like on Twitter because is it not Twitter, Twitch, because that's it. If you want to watch it the first weekend, you can only watch it on Twitch. Uh, and then if by Monday it's on YouTube, but we don't want to
Hmm.
wait that long. So we were watching on Twitch, and they have the Twitch chat, which I turn off. But that was one of the
Hmm.
first things I kept seeing on Twitter. People kept saying, if you're new to Critical Role, avoid Twitch chat at all cost because it is a toxic cesspool of
Oh.
terrible people. And I was like, oh boy. That's fun. And I was
That's that's such a shame, man.
it really is, but when anything, well, Twitch is already like it's that way in
Yeah,
general,
yeah.
which is sad. But but yeah, but it's just whatever. I don't really like to watch it anyways, but it just shows you that in every fandom there's always just
Hmm.
terrible people, no matter how nice and kind the actual content seems to be,
Hmm.
uh, or creators. But anyways, we'll go on my soapbox here, which is not about toxic fandoms this time, which I think we've actually had both. I think we've all had like a toxic fandom soapbox at one point at
Yeah.
this point. But but either way, I just want to bring up that I had a great time this last weekend because I ran a one shot and it took 8 hours. And I it was for a friend. So we did a one shot, me and Tomas actually, and our wives and Brian, who was your last episode, and then my son. We all did a one shot together, and I almost invited my sister-in-law and her boyfriend because he has been. I run a family game. I had been running a family game before. We had to take a break because of the pandemic, and we haven't really got back on the horse yet. But we were talking about getting back on the horse again and getting going again. And her boyfriend wasn't part of those family games,
Hmm.
but plays Warhammer and has heard about D&D before,
All
and
right,
so
all
was
right.
really wanted to play. And so I invited him to that one shot that we were going to do, but they had to work and they couldn't get away
Hmm.
to do the one shot. So I set up a separate day to do a one shot with them, and we ran the hunt for the Thessal Hydra, which I will say right now was actually quite a good uh, one shot. And if you're going to play it, um, turn away and go play it. Go find your DM and go be surprised and play it. But I'm gonna give away some stuff. If you're going to run it, maybe I'll have some tips for you that I would highly recommend doing. So if you want to run the hunt for Thessahydra, you'll first of all, it's actually a story that is supposed to be written by Mike Wheeler, a character from the Stranger Things show. So if you ever
Hmm.
watch the Stranger Things show, they have a D&D game going at the beginning, and they basically cut off, and that's when they start naming things based off of D&D stuff, like the Demogorgon. While the creature in the show is not the same, it just so happens that they were fighting a Demogorgon, so they had started calling it a Demogorgon.
Oh, okay.
And same with the Thessal Hydra in season two. The Thessal Hydra is a wholly bizarre creature, but they started calling it the Thessal Hydra because they had been fighting one in their D&D campaign.
Hmm.
So it's just all they all link up. So this is supposed to be the game that they're playing, and so essentially you start off with it's very simple. You start off with a knight that has a castle and a little village that he wants you to do a mission for him. I altered it to be like a mayor who is an ex-adventurer because I thought it made more sense and actually
Hmm.
gave them a connection with this character that he actually helped them out. They joined. I mean, they came through his town before they're even level two, and he asked them to do a job, but actually went out with them to take care of this job, but became injured while they were out, and they brought him back. They basically saved him. So this time when they talked to him, he was like in a limp. Basically, he had an injury from the combat. He was too old, and he went out and he got himself hurt, and now he's
Hmm.
permanently injured because of it, and so he can't go out this time essentially. But I was trying to make this narrative that they knew this character and he was actually a friend and an
Hmm.
ally that fought with
Okay.
them in the past, which I think was a good start, and I felt it made more sense than a because the book kind of says he's a knight and he basically tells you to do this job for him. But I was like, why if he's a knight and he's so powerful, then why doesn't he just do the damn thing himself?
Yeah.
Like what it didn't make sense to me. Or why does he go with them?
Yeah.
What's the reasoning? I feel like there needs to be a reason why he's not dealing with it. Uh,
Fair
I
enough.
also had him have sent out a party before them of his own soldiers, because I and I'll come back to that later about why exactly I did that. Uh, so they went through, they talked to a couple people. They actually found their information pretty quick. I was very fortunate. They seemed to talk to the priest, which had some pretty quick information, and they went and searched. Um, you're supposed to do a survival check. They did the survival check. Fortunately, they succeeded, so they didn't have to fight anything immediately. They ended up fighting some troglodytes, which are like these lizard creatures
Oh yeah.
in the when they're searching, uh, and then finding out after they defeated the troglodytes that this was actually their home. And the next thing they thought, and they saw the rest of the families. And then as they're exploring more, they found the elders, and they're going to kill them. But fortunately, the elders surrendered. None of them speak common except for the elder. So the player. It was kind of interesting to see the players kind of feel bad that they were like,
Mm.
we kind of set up coming in here like wanting to be
Mm.
a slaughter them, and they weren't good, but they weren't bad either.
Yeah.
And he basically was willing to help them to get to the uh, the the labyrinth. So they have a labyrinth, and essentially the way it's supposed to be is the Thessal Hydra only goes through here by going in and then going out the labyrinth. So he never goes the other way. And that's
Uh-huh.
the whole thing. That's to let them know that that's where they need to go. So the labyrinth itself, they led them to the labyrinth, and fortunately we went through quick. But it is a rolling labyrinth, and it is an interesting idea. But if you're trying to make this a one shot, you're going to want
Yeah.
to slow down. Fortunately, like I said, we just had everything going for us, and they got there really quick. They found the lost knight real quick. They finished. There was two riddles. There was one riddle where essentially you have to chase him, but the riddle is that you have to turn around
Mm.
essentially and chase him. There was another riddle that's interesting, but it's based off of an old nursery rhyme. What I was going to do was sprinkle out verses of the nursery rhyme around the labyrinth, but they weren't in there very long.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they got through it with intelligence checks, and I just basically told them what the nursery rhyme what it was based off of.
Mm.
But going into the upside down was actually very interesting. I felt I did a really good job of keeping it very creepy, and that's where the I sent he sent out another group of adventurers helped out because in as written there's just a MacGuffin of a character named the Proud Princess that will just essentially ride up in her mighty majesty, tell them exactly what they need to do and where they need to go, and then leave. She's not
Mm.
allowed to help them beyond that. And if they attack her, essentially it says they cannot hit her unless they roll a crit. So basically, this overpowered character that just tells you where to go. So I
Yeah.
felt that was lame. So I wrote out a little journal that I put with this little party that went through that kind of gave them an idea of what to do, and then they figured it out. And they fought the Demogorgon snuck up on them while they were figuring this out, and they fought it. They did a good job. The only way to kill it is with fire or acid.
Oh.
So yeah, so it was kind of interesting to see how far they went before they finally figured it out. Uh, and then they decided they wanted a long rest. Well, the Thessal Hydra had been going down to the town every day to pull another victim. And so
Mm-hmm.
essentially, while they were resting, the Thessal Hydra came and they had to hide. And it was a really interesting experience as they hid from the Thessal Hydra and were scared, like looking out. And then they were surprised when they found out that it killed somebody. So basically, the rest cost
Yeah.
the life because
Yeah.
they're supposed to be saving the town. Um, but they went through the portal and everything and went to the Thessal Hydra. I won't. They fought some spiders, which was actually really fun, especially a couple people in the be very scared of spiders. So that was a fun one, uh, as they kept uh, little shivers. Uh, and they got beat up a little bit by the Thessal Hydra, but they did a good job and took it down. It was a pretty quick. It was like 8 hours, but I mean, we also
Yeah.
made dinner and that. But still, I think it wasn't too hard. I think it could have been harder if I really wanted it to, but I was just trying to
Hmm.
introduce somebody to it. So I feel like it was hard enough, but it was easy enough that it was just fun. And I feel like it's a really good little one shot, and it's on D&D Beyond. I mean, you could buy a box set of it. I guess it comes a little mini Demogorgon. Uh, but we used the pre-generated characters as well, so
Oh,
it
okay.
was extremely easy because of that. But we had a great time. I had a really fun time with it, and I think everybody else had a fun time with it. And it sounds like the person had just tried it out for the first time, he seemed really excited about the possible campaign that I'm going to be running when we do our family games again. So I'm really excited for that. I'm starting to build that world out, figure out what I'm going to do for that because we did Lost Mines of Phandalin before, which was a module, but it's like a shorter module. And I think a longer extended campaign is going to be really fun for them because they're really going to
Yeah.
have to get deep in their characters instead of, level 5, it's over. Now it's like there's going to be a more overarching campaign, which I think will be way
Hmm.
in the long term. But I think I have gone long enough in my little explanation.
That's really
Not as
cool,
long as
though. I'm
myself,
glad you
but
had fun.
yeah, it was really fun. And one of my biggest issues with D&D is I have too many people that want to play. And it's
Yeah.
like I want everybody to play, but I gotta cut people out just because I'm like I only feel comfortable running for a certain amount of people. So
Yep.
it
Yeah,
becomes
I
like
know what
really
you mean. Same thing for me, man. Because yeah, like I mean, that's technically why I'm running two different sessions every week. Is because I have so many people that want to play, but I can't mash them into one group, or else it would take too long. Like
yeah. When you get past 6 people, six is even rough
pushing it.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pushing it, but anything beyond 6 is like Critical Role does it. I've been watching them more, and they seem to
Mm.
somehow get do 7 people, which is
Well, I think a lot of that comes from. I think a lot of that comes from the table knowing each other. So like if we have 5 people, for let's say for example that we have 5 people that have played with each other all the time, right? Or for a long
yeah,
time. And then a sixth person gets introduced. I've found that it's not that hard to bring that extra person in because the table helps me as the DM bring them in. But I will
yeah,
say after 6, I find it to be a little too much. So
yeah.
I'm curious about this 7. Well, I mean they've
Yeah.
always done 7 though,
They've
haven't
done
they?
7. Last campaign at least was 7. I don't know about the one before that, but I know last one at least was 7.
Yeah.
And this one right now is actually 8, but
Yeah, I was
one of
gonna
them is
say,
a
wow,
guest. One
it's
of them is a
8.
guest,
Yeah.
so I think they're going to be leaving eventually because I did introduce them as a guest,
Mm.
and but I know a lot of people want him to stay, but I don't think he's supposed to. But I don't know.
Mm.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Uh, so they did introduce him as a guest, so I'm guessing
Yeah.
that would mean he's a guest. But we'll
Yeah.
see. But he's still there, and things have happened, and he's still there. So we'll see what happens with that. But
Yeah.
anyways, thank you for joining me, Tomas, as usual.
Oh, no problem.
Uh, I'm glad we got something out there. I hope you all enjoyed this more intimate session again. Less noises, less people. But I think that's it for today. So we'll have to see y'all next time. So hopefully it'll be
Yeah.
soon and not too far ahead. Later, folk.
Bye.